Welcome, everybody, to this basement session, episode 8. This is A0X podcast, where we head down to the basement, the place where the magic happens and startups are born. Here, we interview founders building blockchain projects to understand what they're creating, what they have learned along the way, why it matters, and what's coming next. So, today, we're joined by Miguel Lizárraga. With more than 20 years in the agricultural industry, he specializes in international business, logistics, and agricultural product supply chains. He's the export, sales, and marketing manager at the Roasty Nut, where around 22,000 tons of walnuts are processed and exported each year. And on chain, he's the founder of Sugone and Sumer Exchange, where he brings agriculture together with blockchain and tokenizes agricultural assets to create new models for liquidity, payment, settlement, and more efficient markets. So welcome, Miguel. And my first question to you in this introduction is, who is Miguel outside this curriculum vitae?
Hey, Daniel, thanks for having me. I'm a multi-generational agriculture person. My family does not own agriculture land. We don't farm, but I'm a multi-generational farm worker. My exposure to agriculture was since I was young, going alongside my father as he worked in these almonds and walnut fields. And that's how I got exposed to this industry. So that's kind of was one of my upbringings that I used to go to work with my father in the weekends, long summers, and I created this relationship with this family that was they're a multi-generation family working in this capacity. So they specialize also in tree nuts, and as time was progressing, as we grew together, we kind of we explored other avenues how we could help that industry. That later on in life I ended up working. As you know, agriculture is one of the oldest industries on earth. It's fascinating because it connects farmers, logistics, trade, finance, and global food systems. So that's kind of my exposure to it, and that's who I was growing up. That also gave me that grit and to do something more with ourselves. My parents always kind of told us what the importance of education was, and they're like, if you don't go to school, you'll be working alongside your father in these fields. So that kind of gave that was something that motivated my siblings and I to make sure that we got an education and we continued developing professionally for our future.
It's really awesome that you are an insider of this industry. So you're not actually like building from outside, but like knowing the business and trying to fix things inside those operations. And I want to ask you about your basement moment, which is basically what was the exact moment when you decided to build this? Like, what happened there?
The moment came from experiencing the payment cycle in agriculture trade. I mean, you have shipments of product traveling across the world, across the ocean to another country. And sometimes we noticed that we were waiting on the settlement. So the container was already at the port, yet we were still waiting for the payment settlement. In agriculture, I mean, you're talking about millions of dollars of physical products moving through the supply chain. But the payment side of the wires transfers, the corresponding banks, the documentation, the customs, it's a reconciliation process that could take weeks. So that's where I really understood that disconnect. I realized that the physical supply chain had evolved, but the financial rails had not. And when through some friends that I met that were in the crypto space, they introduced me to what blockchain did, and that's when I started thinking that there's a use for this blockchain, since we were thinking of settling in stable coins, and it could evolve into something very practical for our industry.
Did anyone close to you think that you were making a mistake, like diving into crypto and tokenization and mixing that with agriculture?
Yeah, they didn't think that there was any way we could kind of bridge that gap between agriculture and crypto. But as we And at first, as I would talk to more people in our industry, more handlers, more growers, they didn't see how these things two could meet in the middle. So that was kind of where I gave them that goal. It's like, okay, I got to prove that it can. And I kept them going deeper and deeper into this rabbit hole and realizing that this technology was actually something revolutionary and it could help our industry. And I've been able to build both of Sugone and Sumer X to the MVP level to prove that it can do that.
Let's talk about now the biggest myths around this business. What's the biggest lie that keeps getting repeated in your industry?
The biggest lie is that we cannot change our ways of doing business. That this is how we've done it for generations, and there's no way around it. And I think that's a big misunderstanding because there is better, more efficient, more trustworthy ways of operating in agriculture. Whether it be even in farming, now we are seeing new technologies being developed in trade with now what we're working on, and by tokenization, it's a whole different ballgame.
Would you say that it's more something like fear towards the technology, or maybe distrust, or maybe it's just like this is the way the things have been done like for years, so no need to change?
I think it's a little bit of all of them. People are comfortable with the way they're doing it. It's what they know. A little bit of fear. Crypto brings that connotation of fear and distrust. Also, lack of education. If we would look into it and learn a little bit more, we could see that there's a lot of value.
What about your mistakes in this journey? What was the most expensive mistake you made building this?
The one of the biggest mistakes for me, I think, was that I was getting too focused in the technology. And because as you go down, like I said, this rabbit hole and learning more about this fascinating world of crypto, there's always better, bigger things you could try to implement. And that's when they told me, like, hey, step back. What's a problem you're trying to fix, and focus on that. So stick to what really is going to bring value to your users, to our community, and don't get kind of caught up on the technology and everything else that's out there, because it's massive. So there's so many ways and avenues we could go to. It's like attack it the most simple way that your users will be able to understand and use.
And would you say that in that process you lost time, money, reputation, or something else?
Time more than anything. Kind of going the wrong avenue, pursuing something that wasn't probably the best fit at the time.
Okay. I want to talk now about advices. This is a podcast that many founders and builders watch, and they want to learn about the experiences of other founders. So what is the best advice you received that you still use today?
The best advice is keep kind of the purpose of the user you're trying to serve, keep them in mind. So what that means is keep on talking to them, being in direct contact and relationship with them, because they're going to help you build the best version of your product, rather than kind of thinking that what they want. Is have that direct line, and as they're giving you that feedback, reiterate, build better, and divert and improve your process.
Do you remember who gave you that advice?
It's not specifically who, but it's just within groups within actually the crypto community. As I went to different conferences and different events, you kind of try to what advice would they give, and that's something I appreciate, that the community has been very welcoming and has given us a lot of feedback and a lot of advice that's helped us along our way.
Yeah, the community participation is super strong in crypto. We are terminally online people, so we want to be connected through socials, because we don't see much each other in real life. And there's a lot of people really willing to try products and give feedback. And yeah, we should definitely take that. What advice would you give someone who's where you were like 2 years ago?
I would tell them to continue on with their goal, with the pursuit. Sometimes it starts as a dream, but I mean, as you put more time and more effort, you'll realize that it could turn on to something. And I mean, in our case, this all started in a farm office. Some friends of a friend came from Silicon Valley to the farm. We were having coffee, conversating, getting to know each other. They were explaining to us what they do in their world within this blockchain. We were explaining to them what we were doing at that moment, which we were harvesting almonds and pistachios, and ideas just started surging. And before we knew it, we're like, I mean, there's something there. And we pulled out a whiteboard. We started kind of brainstorming, and that's where the tokenization idea popped up. And it was kind of like the aha moment for all of us. We're like, oh wow, this might work, and it was off to the races. And when we first started, it was a bigger group of as far as agriculture individuals, but then we kind of started losing them. They're like, I don't know if it's going to work, and because they are doing what they've been doing, what I mean has worked for them for many years. And I was like, no, I get there's got to be something better, and that's where Sugone Sumer Exchange was born.
I think this is a good time to tell the audience about Sugone and Summer Exchange. Like, what those actually do for the farmers or for the supply chain? How it is impacting that business?
So, I mean, Sugone is a platform that tokenizes real agriculture commodities into digital assets backed 1-to-1 by certified crops, right? So, what that does, that gives that accessibility. So, by tokenizing these commodities, it gives farmers, handlers that global accessibility. So now you're going to be able to trade that asset anytime, anywhere. What it also does, it also kind of provides the liquidity way faster. As you know, farming is a whole year round event. It starts with pollination, then it starts with pruning, it starts then fertilizing, and there's so many input costs. Then there's the harvest, then there's continue by processing, getting this product ready to export, and all of that process, as you know, it takes money, and that cash flow sometimes by the end it's already depleted. But by tokenizing, you provide this liquidity to the group that has been farming. And Super Exchange on the other side is kind of the settlement layer. It's infrastructure that allows agriculture contracts to be executed using stablecoins. So that way is that Sugone represents the asset layer, and Sumer Exchange represents the transaction and the settlement layers. Together, they're more efficient, and it's a financial system for agriculture trade.
And a good system for financial trade. If when you approach your clients and try to explain your product and what do you do, what is something that they reject that maybe if they could understand well, they would say, hey, we have to use this immediately?
The hardest part has been kind of the onboarding process, getting that first USDC onto their account. Banks have had their trust for many decades, right? Because we've been dealing through banks. So telling them, hey, I'm going to get you a digital wallet that's going to be self-custodied. I mean, it's a different beast.
It's a huge thing.
It's huge, and even having them do their first $5, like, let's try it. Like, what about it gets lost? And it's that fear, right? It's that panic, and it's just slowly getting them more comfortable, knowing that having that self custody, and that gives you that control. And as scary as it might seem, in the long run, a lot of benefit to that.
Yeah, there's a lot of
that you have this technology to rely on, which gives things faster, and it's and then along the ways it'll be easier.
There's a lot of entrepreneurs or founders that when they think about the final customer, they will rather use a non-custodial wallet, so the user don't go through those fears or pains. But some others see the actual benefits of using self-custody. Some are legal even, or some are like operational. Like, how do you see that?
So for us, on both of our platforms, we have embedded wallets. So it's kind of like the first easy step. What if the conversation flows, we kind of try to highlight the bigger picture and the benefit of that. Kind of having that whole financial rails controlled by us or by themselves, and that's when they kind of like, okay, that makes sense. But we've built both Sugone and Sumer Exchange, where it's very user friendly. We're kind of abstracting all the other stuff, the lingo, that things that that matters, but it's we wanted to get on board and try it. And we've also gotten that surprise response when they're like, oh wow, so we did that, and the contract settled, yes. And then when they've also purchased or traded the Amin coin, for example, they're like, so this represents £1, yes, and here's a USDA certificate that backs it, and it's here's where it's stored, here's the grade, quality, everything. And he's like, wow, so you're telling me that now I'm going to be able to trade that with my overseas buyer? Yes. So they're going to come to our platform, and they're going to be able to purchase X amount of Amin coins, and that's going to represent how many pounds. He's like, but how are they going to get them? Well, then we create a contract on Sumer Exchange. That's the same regular contract like you do normally. Instead of signing a PDF, now you're doing it on chain. And they're like, and what does that mean? I'm like, here's a receipt. Here's everything it's telling you. And it's just like, so everybody can see. It's like, yes. So now that the buyer and yourself, now you guys are responsible because this is on chain. So it's a real transaction that can be verified. And we could also follow it through, knowing, hey, buyer X didn't go through, and now we could see where it's at, rather than kind of a hearsay. And contract disputes are a normal part of business, and we're seeing it now with the crisis that's going on in the Middle East. A lot of our cargo that was going out there had been diverted. Nothing has been canceled up to now, so we're very thankful for that. But these lines of code, this type of technology gives you that protection, gives both parties that protection, and I think that's something that's very innovative.
That's really interesting. So the war is also affecting, I guess, your core industry, like the prices of those almonds or walnuts. It's also affecting in some way Sugone, for example, or the way that or your clients, that how willing they are to try new things.
For us, we're using it to kind of say there's an alternate way of doing business, a more trustworthy way, a better way. So this situation that's going on in the Middle East, it disrupts supply chain. It truly does. In Chile, you guys are coming to walnut harvest pretty soon, and that changes the game. The Middle East is a big consumer of walnuts, and specifically in shell. So that changes the market, and it kind of trickles down into the farmer, but it also disrupts global prices on different commodities. In a farming standpoint, fertilizer price has gone up since the beginning of this crisis. So it affects. We're seeing fuel prices going up. And what do we need fuel to move the product? What do we need fuel to use the tractors? It affects everything. So the bottom line is being affected by this. So yes, we are seeing this in real time.
With everything you know now, if you had to start again today, what would you not do?
At first, I was working too hard to kind of get the validation of the crypto community, and kind of going to kind of Silicon Valley and kind of getting their buy-in. Because I come from the ag industry, so I felt like, okay, what I'm doing on our side, yeah, it's good, but I realized that no, I got to build this. My users are my friends, my colleagues, my competitors, my network. So I'm like, I got to start with them, and then kind of slowly bridge over to Silicon Valley. So the San Joaquin Valley, it has to be on board, and then we go to Silicon Valley, which is only a short drive away here in California.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. When you started building Sugone and Summer Exchange, you already had these AI tools like for coding or ChatGPT or no?
No,
Are you using it today?
We started kind of 2023. That's kind of when the idea. There was kind of more. Early, I think it was 2024 when we started seeing more and more of it. But now we do. Our developer uses AI tooling to kind of help them with the build, and now we use that as a resource. We've been relying on it more and more because obviously it's a very useful tool, and as we scale more, we'll rely on it more and more.
Do you think agents can have a place in your products or in your future developments?
I think that there will be. We've been looking at like AI supply agents, which it's fascinating. And even they're using AI bots for trading, and there's definitely a use for it. We're sticking to the core problem and kind of take care of that solution. But as we scale, we'll definitely consider something like that.
Well, maybe we developed GCXBG as an agent that is there to help you with your product or with your project. He can give you feedback and analyze your repo, your web, your business strategy, and so on. Would you use an agent like that to help you through your journey? And maybe
I have been.
Uh-huh.
Sorry. I have been using Jesse XBT. It's been very helpful actually. And I'm really thankful that tool is out there because what I appreciate the most is that it reflects the mindset of someone who has built this infrastructure, right? In the base ecosystem, he's builder 001. So what better than that? Because it helps you focus more on the development, and then he gives you that how do you call it? From his perspective. So it's something that I've leaned on a lot. I've used them to different platforms and reaching out to for guidance.
And would you delegate other aspects of your business to AIs? For example, marketing, legal, or human resources, or anything like that. What's your opinion on these people that it's trying to build a zero human company, and maybe something that every company at some point will just be like the founders and agents doing the work?
I think there's a lot of benefit for that. In order to be competitive, have that competitive advantage in this day and age, you have to have that. You have to consider that. And having AI, in marketing, HR, communications, you name it, I think it's a great tool, and I think we all must consider it and apply it somewhere because that's the only way we're going to be able to compete with this technology.
If you had the chance to have an industry legend as your mentor, like who would it be?
You mean industry legend? That's a good question. Right now what fascinates me more is kind of the tokenization, and so someone in that realm. But then I also, now that I'm digging in deeper into like Sumer Exchange and the financial rails, that also, fintech is. So that's a good question. I can't think of anything in top of my mind, but that I would say in those realms, either in the RWA and the fintech.
Yeah, it's such a new a whole new area of crypto tokenization and agricultural tokenization. So maybe you have to be the legend for others to come.
I'll rely on someone else, but then yeah, maybe someday, right? It's the beginning.
Yeah. So let's talk about the vision for Sugone and Summer Exchange. How does that product look like in 3 years from now?
Well, over the next few months, we're focusing on expanding. Sumer X and getting more contracts on chain. Right now we're focusing on tree nuts because that's an industry that I'm involved in. But we want to expand to other commodities. So we want to kind of keep on scaling that infrastructure for both of them. And the goal is to bring more real agriculture transactions on chain to improve and allow the industry to interact with this technology. And I think as we do more use cases, we'll see that benefit of it. And I mean, like a true Mexican, and I mean, we love tacos. And the reason I mention that is Mexico consumes all of their corn they produce. They even import. They even import 40 to 50% of corn from other countries for the consumption. Yet the price of the commodity is dictated by the Chicago Mercantile Exchange in a different country. So if the supply and demand is one in one country, why should the price be dictated from someone else, from somewhere else? And another thing that we noticed, the farmers struggle so much they even have to rely on governmental subsidies. So that to me, it kind of doesn't make sense. If the supply and demand is such, subsidies shouldn't be necessary, right? And I think by applying this technology, which is tokenization, we could change that, because we could create that we control that supply and demand there. It will democratize the process. And I see this in many other areas that have a lot of agriculture, like South America, right? Chile with grapes or walnuts, Argentina with corn, in Peru with aguacate, Colombia with coffee. Uruguay with soya, whatever it is. I think that there's a benefit to that.
That's a really powerful idea. Like the fact that we just live in this reality where prices of things that are produced and consumed here are determined like somewhere else, like actually makes no sense. And your technology can help us like bring that back to where the things are being created and consumed, and that can reflect a much more I don't know, like a legitimate price, sort of saying.
It would democratize the process, and it would start from the farmer, and it would go all the way to supply chain. So it would cover everything. Because in an ideal scenario, agriculture trade would run on digital infrastructure. Contract would be executed automatically, payment settled within. It could be within minutes instead of days or weeks. Agriculture assets could interact with global capital markets in a transparent and efficient way, and this would strengthen the resilience of the entire food supply. And we all depend on that. That's why one of my models is like, tokenize the crops that feed us, because this is instrumental to everything. And it goes to the farmer, into the plate in our kitchen with our families.
And this can also be used by small farmers, right? Or it's just for like big agricultural companies?
No, for small farmers too. This could be used for farmers, traders, handlers, producers, importers, exporters. Distributors, you name it, along the whole supply chain. There's use for this. The farmer has to purchase things. So the contract layer is there. The commodities got to be traded from farmer to handler, from handler to processor, from processor to exporter. So there's use for it throughout the process.
This can help a lot of people, not only farmers, the consumers too. In the end, we're getting better products. Why did you choose to build this on Base?
The reason I like Base is the whole global economy. Base is also really strong as far as stablecoins. The USDC is something that we're using as a staple in all of our products. The community is great. There's a great builder community, and they've been very welcoming of this ad guy coming in and asking questions and interacting. Another thing that is really beneficial is that getting the trust of our users is the most important thing, and it's been one of the most challenging things. And the fact that Coinbase there's that association with Base. There's that reputable name. It gives it that credibility, and then which helps us kind of get that foot in the door, which is huge. I mean, Base is also focused on enabling real-world applications and scalable payments infrastructure. It's fast, it's reliable. I mean, it has that EVM backing, so it's for our use case, which involves stablecoins and real commerce. The alignment is extremely important. The ecosystem is also very, like I said, builder focused, which creates an environment where projects can collaborate and grow together. I've been interacting with people on the Base team, including I've had a call with Jesse and his team, and they've been very helpful and instrumental to our build.
That's really awesome. Yeah, I think that too. That they're really doing the work so more people can be on chain and benefit from the things that we are using every day. But it's still just a few amount of people that is getting all those benefits. Like all the rest of the world, it still has to enjoy that. But Base is doing a great work there. So yeah, I'm supporting builders and building the tools so this can be used for anyone, no, not just for us, the guys that know a bit about tech. If well, the goal for sure is to make Sugone and Sumer Exchange a successful product, so it can like impact a lot of people. Sometimes partnerships can help with that. So if you could have like your dream partnership, what would that be? Who are you looking at?
Well, partnerships, we're looking kind of to work with agriculture corporations. That's kind of one of our biggest goals, because they have the bigger customer base. B, I mean, they move different commodities to different parts of the market, so that's to us very beneficial. Onboarding different, I gotta say it, more users of different farming, I gotta say products. That's also a benefit to us. And then also in the technological aspect, partnering people that, I mean, kind of have built this framework that can help us be better, help us scale better, have the necessary infrastructure necessary to be successful. Like I said, large agriculture corporations, global commodity trading platforms. Those organizations already handle like massive volumes of agriculture trade.
Mm-hmm.
So integrating this modern settlement infrastructure could create an immediate impact.
Agricultural trade is huge, like trillions.
Yes.
And yeah, and it's something that it's an activity that has been since the beginning of civilization, right? Like when we started growing crops, and it deserves some upgrade, so it can be better, can be more transparent, and we want more assets on chain. So those billions and billions of volume can also be available for traders. So maybe I'm not very close to the agricultural industry, but I can trade it. And if I can do it if I have these tokenized assets that Sugone is making. And that's pretty cool. Is there something that you would like to communicate to the builders that are hearing this podcast, or the people in general, or maybe farmers, that something that can make them take action on this?
Well, I mean, I have a message for all of them. For builders, I mean, I come from the agriculture industry, like I mentioned before, and it's not your conventional project, right? Merging crypto and ag, but it could be done. And I mean, we've proven that it works. There's value to it. So I think for builders, I would tell them that whatever you guys might see in your day-to-day kind of pain points, friction, kind of solve it. And crypto has all the technologies, and I think it could provide solutions for anything. For farmers, I encourage you guys to look into this. But I mean, not necessarily just with Sugone and Sumer X, but do reach out. But just for this technology in general, because I think it could get you into the door into bigger other things. And what crypto is doing is fascinating because it's not only revolutionizing the payments, currencies, how money moves. I think it trickles down to kind of our day life with AI, with everything. But as far as our platform, I think there's going to be benefit for them, and for regular crypto people and regular people in general, because the vision of this is, as we grow, as we scale, it's not only for our handlers and our exporters, it's also for people like Daniel, like Fabio, that are consume these products, right? We all do. We all eat. Have it accessible to them. And one of the visions is that, create like a marketplace where they could kind of purchase these commodities from the farmers, from the handlers, from the producers. And also, as we scale, we build something that you can redeem your tokens in your local grocery store. That where you go is like, hey, I have an almond token that I bought at Sugone. I want to enjoy these products. I want to eat healthy. I want to eat good. I need some protein, omega-3s, which is walnuts. I go to my grocery store. We do some type of partnership with them, some marketing campaign, and now we bring people in the store, which helps the convenience store. We're providing healthy products to the community, and we're transacting. So it's a win-win-win.
If anyone wants to reach you, talk with you, or use your product or anything, where does he has to go?
They could find me on X at MIGANLIZR. I'm in kind of either at sumerexchange.com, sugone.com. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'll provide you with our information. That way you can put it on the comments, and have them reach out. I'm glad to collaborate, glad to hear any ideas and see how we could improve.
Yeah, we will put that info in the description of the video. So if you want to reach Miguel, and you're interested in these products, or maybe you want to use them, just reach him, so we can keep on building and growing this amazing ecosystem. I want to thank you very much, Miguel, for participating in this basement session. Also, thank you to BranderGG for co-hosting this podcast. And see you guys in episode 8. Of course, I'll give you the last words, Miguel, if you want to say anything, closing words to the audience. Please be my guest.
Thank you, Daniel, for having me. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for the time and the conversation. I just want to say, please continue following us as we build. We're right now in our kind of MVP stage, but we are going to be able to, we're kind of bringing out new features, and soon we're going to have more products on our exchange and bring more commodities on chain. We look forward to meeting a lot of you guys, talking to you guys, and kind of look for agriculture. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, we want to see more agricultural assets too on chain, and more farms too. So yeah, thank you again, Miguel. Thank you again, everyone that is watching, and see you in the next episode. Bye.
Thank you.